Evening.
Mr. Peyton's in there, sir.
Thank you, Mary.
Good evening, Leslie.
You said it was urgent.
Yes, I have something to discuss with you. Some information that concerns you.
What sort of information?
Rather disturbing, I'm afraid. Something about an ex-convict. Fella called Chandler. I assume you know what I refer to?
I know about Jack Chandler.
Yeah. He was an employee of yours.
An employee of ours. One of them. He worked at the mill along with several hundred other people.
Yes, the mill does employ a great many people in this town. I dare say it's the economic backbone of the entire community. Wouldn't you agree, Leslie?
Yes, yes.
I'm always troubled when there are temporary cutbacks and the men are being laid off. I imagine you are too, Leslie.
Of course.
Then why was this man, this Chandler, hired? When old hands, some of them second and third generation mill workers, were being discharged.
Martin, you've never questioned my employment tactics before. I put a man to work on the loading dock. Obviously, in retrospect, it was a mistake. Why should such a petty matter concern you?
Obviously, I don't consider it petty. You gave a job to a stranger. I assume you didn't know the man. You gave a job to a stranger when you might have called back an old hand on the job.
Most of the men who were laid off were skilled or semi-skilled workers. This was just a common laborer's job.
This is a small town, Leslie. I dare say you know most of the men who work in the mill. You grew up with many of them. But if a drifter comes into this town asking for a job, I not only expect you to check his references, I think it was an absolute necessity. Unless, of course, you have some other proof that he can be trusted.
He was just a man looking for a job. Any kind of a job. I didn't think a thorough investigation was necessary.
Well, that's too bad, Leslie. You see what a blunder of this kind can lead to. Makes me wonder if you're losing your managerial ability.
Why, that's ridiculous. What's one thing got to do with the other?
Hiring a character like Chandler is very bad business. After I'm gone, I won't be able to check every so-called petty mistake. Perhaps I'd better reconsider my will. At least the part that deals with you.
Jack Chandler isn't that important.
He was important enough to warrant a visit from you before he escaped from jail.
He worked for us. He was in trouble. His attorney called and asked me to see him. It was a gesture, Martin, a plain and simple gesture. I felt an obligation on our behalf. Now, what's this all about? Why this interrogation?
Because I deem it necessary.
Are you implying that I had something to do with his escape?
Did you?
Don't be absurd. If this is your idea of humor, I don't think it's very funny. I've worked longer and harder than anyone to pull the mill out of the red and keep it running, and running into profit. And now, just because some common laborer gets into trouble, I'm called on the carpet like a truant schoolboy. But I don't have to stand here and take any more of this. I have far more important ways of spending an evening.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt, Martin. I didn't realize you had a visitor.
Oh, that's all right, my dear. He was just about to leave. Adrienne, this is Leslie Harrington. He was my daughter's husband. Leslie, Mrs. Van Leyden, an old friend who's going to honor us with a visit.
Mr. Harrington.
Mrs. Van Leyden, are you staying in Peyton Place long?
I really don't know.
Well, as Martin was saying, I was just leaving.
Your timing was perfect.
Hi, Elliot.
Hi.
What can I give you?
Oh, a beer and a little conversation about a gun. Now, the last time I was in here, I asked a lot of questions, and you very neatly ducked those questions.
I own a tavern. I serve drinks to a lot of characters who come in off the wharf. But there's nothing in my license that says I have to answer anybody's questions about anything.
Look, I'm not working on a hunch, Ada. I'm working on a fact of my life and a fact of yours. I want to know about that gun.
What gun?
Chandler's gun. The gun he used to spring himself out of jail. Who gave it to him?
I slipped it to him. He gave me some booze free, and I slipped him a gun.
Back here.
You're getting tacky, Elliot.
I want to know about that gun.
I've got another customer.
He's got a bottle he can pour his own.
Don't I make myself clear?
Look, how long do you know Chandler?
What makes you think I knew him?
It was 18 years ago.
I was just a child.
He lived on this dock, Ada.
Did he?
He lived as known as Forrest, Jack Forrest.
Well, ask Charlie about him. He's been here as long as I have.
Charlie doesn't know anything.
Neither do I.
What do you owe Chandler anyway?
Nothing.
You know everything that happens to these wharf people. You know what makes it happen. Why? You could tell me who gave him that gun. I know you could, if you wanted to.
Your wife's safe? Your baby's safe? Rachel's safe? What's it to you?
I told you.
What's your excuse this time?
Excuse?
Yes, excuse. You make me sick, you and your manhunts. Why don't you just close down that newspaper and go buy yourself a uniform and a gun, and then run around shouting justice and shooting people who don't tie their ties the way you do, and then you can get your kicks every day, all day.
Because Chandler saw Allison. He was the last one to see Allison.
That was almost a year ago now.
Who are you covering for?
Get out of here, Elliot. Get out.
Happened to your mood on the drive back.
Did it?
Well, that old magic isn't working. You hardly touched your food.
I wasn't hungry.
Maybe it was the place. You weren't hungry the last time we were there.
Our honeymoon.
Yes, I ordered Chateaubriand. Most expensive thing on the menu. I wanted to impress you. And you know, I don't think either of us touched it.
Stephen, why didn't you tell me Adrienne went to see you?
So that's it.
It's been bothering me, yes.
Well, you should have said something earlier.
It was such a lovely evening, I didn't want to spoil it for us.
I didn't say anything about Adrienne because I didn't think it was important.
But you managed to tell me about everyone else you saw today.
You let me talk on and on about my day. Testing me.
Testing you.
Well, there was no need. She came to my office for some legal advice.
And that's what you couldn't tell me.
Well, yes.
Oh, Stephen, I think I deserve a better answer than that. I'm your wife, your share and share alike partner. Or is this just a one-way operation? Is that what it is? I mean, I run your errands, gather your information for you, even lie if necessary. And then it's perfectly all right for you to keep things from me. Now, I think I have a right to know why she went to you.
But I've already told you. Now, believe me, Betty, there's nothing to say.
Stephen, if it were just some silly little legal problem, you would have told me. So there's got to be another reason. Are you doing this deliberately? Are you punishing me for the Blaine report? Is that what it is?
Oh, now you know I'm not.
Then what is it? You're attracted to her, aren't you?
Attracted to her? Well, you've got to be kidding. Adrienne is everything I detest in a woman. She has that polished, superior air deliberately calculated to make everybody feel like a peasant. Cool, understated, inbred. Adrienne Van Leyden. Do you think I could have any feeling for such a useless person? I mean, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. I used to see that kind of woman in the PEYTON house in Boston. Cold, spoiled, accepting every privilege and advantage as their right. Now, I couldn't stand them 15 years ago. I still can't.
I can see that.
Now, look. We're both tired. There was a lot of driving, too much driving. And I can see now too much strain. Now, you know, you really shouldn't keep everything to yourself. You should have said something about Adrienne at the beginning of the evening. We could have had our misunderstanding over and done with. Now it's late. Let's go to bed. Come on.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
I want to know why my grandfather brought her here. I want to know why she came.
Any relationship I had with her or Dr. Van Leyden is going to have to stay my business.
You play a role you played all your life. I want Stevens and Betty's marriage destroyed.
Even you can make one enemy too many.
I don't want to go into it on the phone, Mr. Harrington. It's about a gun.